girls and gals, welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor and today is going to be another weekly reading vlog. I had a very good weekend, Mother's Day weekend, with my partner and his parents. We went camping in the Ozarks, just had a really nice unplugged weekend. It was very nice getting to unplug, relax, just not worry about stresses of work and life at the moment and kind of get away for a couple of days. So that was really fun. I do have one reading update from my last weekly vlog because when I finished, I was right in the middle of this book. And I do just want to kind of give a couple additional disclaimers. I did still end up really liking this. And I do think that the fan fiction comparison is accurate just in terms of tone. Also, the balance between fantasy and romance can get Sarah J. Maas's. So if you like her work, you might like this too. Now, if you don't like Sarah J. Maas's writing style, but you think like you like the idea in concept, but maybe not in practice with Sarah J. Maas, because I know she does have some writing tropes and a writing style that not everyone loves, then you might want to check out this. It does have that same fantasy feel with lots of romance. I definitely was not expecting it. I mean, I was expecting some romance based on the trigger warnings in here, but it really came out of nowhere almost at a certain chapter. So just know that going in. But it was a really fun book to read, and I'll definitely be picking up the next in the series, Magical Dragon Rider School. Yeah, what's not to love about that? So I did really enjoy this. Again, probably one of the most stunning like sprayed edges that I've seen in quite some time for just a regular edition book. This is not special edition. I just went out to Barnes & Noble and bought this. So yes, let's see this, publishers. Let's see this moving forward with just regular edition books. I like the sprayed edges. It was a really fun read. So yeah, I am kicking off this week with just a fun fantasy read. And the next book that I am going to pick up, normally y'all know I am more of a mood reader, but I do need to return this guy to the library soon, so I need to power through this. And not power through because I am very excited to read this, but it is a little intimidating just because I read the synopsis, didn't really know, like I don't really know what's going on. I think it's a historical fantasy. From the first chapter, I've only read the first chapter, it kind of gives me post-revolution France. Question mark, I'm not sure. All I know is that it has been compared to like Piranesi, a book that I really liked, but a book that was very bizarre in terms of fantasy. So there's that. And then it's also like Dickensian, I've heard, and I don't know if that's based on writing style or time era or what, but it's based on a fantasy world where people revere cats as like gods. So yeah, Owen King, Stephen King's son. I have read things by him before. I do think he's a good author. It runs in the family. I like Joe Hill's writing style as well. So I am excited to pick this up. And you know, I'm only on page 12 now. I do need to get a good way through this. And I do need to finish it quite quickly. I definitely need to finish it in this vlog because if not, I'm gonna have to return it to the library because there is someone waiting in line behind me and I don't want to keep them waiting. But I am excited about this, so I am going to be picking this up, and that's really all. Just wanted to come on, introduce the vlog. I do have some B-roll footage before this of my weekend. Very great, very relaxing. Now back to the 9 to 5 work week. So yes, excited to read this. That's my reading update. Welcome to the vlog, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, so let's talk about how I still haven't gotten into any more of The Curator by Owen King. I'm not quite sure I'm in the mood for it. It's definitely, if I do end up DNFing it, it's not going to be a forever DNF. It's just going to be like, I'm not in the mood for it. right now. Like, I feel like this is a story I could either love or hate depending on the mood I'm in, and because I did pick it up just because I had to, and I have to return it because someone's next in line for me at the library, I just feel like I picked it up when it wasn't the right time, and that is definitely not this book's fault. I just first of all, I don't think I was feeling it, so I think I'm gonna return it, put myself back on the wait list for it, and maybe see if I'm in like a better headspace for this later, because also yesterday one of my most anticipated releases of the whole entire year released. So yeah, I didn't want to read this. I wasn't in the mood for this when I could have been reading Yellowface by RF Kuang. And friends, I am done with this. I already finished it. I sat down, I literally finished it all in one day because this book is incredible. It's one of my top 10 books of the year. It's no secret if you've watched like any of my other videos that RF Kuang is one of my favorite writers. I will say I was kind of nervous based on the fact that this is a contemporary book, and I don't really tend to pick up contemporary like at all. So I'm definitely like more of like a fantasy reader, speculative fiction, just magical, all of that, horror. Yeah, so I don't tend to pick up just like books with contemporary settings. So I'm not gonna lie, I was just a little bit nervous about this one because if it wasn't RF Kuang, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. I'm so glad that I did though. This is so fantastic. This is about two writers. The first writer, her name is Ken Liu. She is a sensation, a starlet. She released her first book like straight out of college. She might have still been in college, but she was a wonderkind. She released her first debut, rock star numbers, keeps releasing hit after hit after hit. She is Asian American. The next author is June Hayward, and she's white. This is important, as you can maybe imagine by a title like this. Both races of these authors are very important to the story, their ethnicities are. And June has also released a book. She's only released one book. She released a book, it didn't gain traction. Her team, her editor, her publisher, they're not really like rooting for her. They're waiting for another book for her. They say they're on her side, but she doesn't really get like any publicity pushes. She hasn't hit the success that her friend Athena has. Now, they're hanging out one night celebrating Athena Liu's Netflix deal for her latest book, an adaptation for her latest book, when Athena tragically dies in a freak accident. And June is compelled to, because this happens at Athena's apartment, June is compelled to take home with her an unfinished, unpublished manuscript that no one knows that Athena has been working on, and decides to make some tweaks to this and publish it herself under her own name, but not her own name because she's going to take a new pen name, and her new pen name is going to be Juniper Song. She blows up. She's a sensation. The book is great. She keeps getting all of these accolades, but what's going on here, right? So the blurb for this one is white lies, dark humor, deadly consequences. Best-selling sensation Juniper Song is not who she says she is. She didn't write the book she claims she wrote, and she is certainly not Asian American in this chilling and hilarious, I think, right? Hilariously cutting novel from the #1 New York Times bestseller RF Kuang. And this was very funny at points. Like, this is very dark satire. It is an absolute satire of the publishing industry, and also I think of like America as a whole and like microaggressions and all of that. This was just so wonderful. I do buy all of RF Kuang's books both on Libro FM and physical because I'm more of like a physical book reader. My partner's more of an audio reader, so we just get both copies just so we can each have like our own preferred method for when we want to read or reread her books. Highly recommend the audiobook. The narrator, Helen Laser, really brings the story to life in such an engaging way. I just was starstruck, awestruck, like the whole time listening to this. This was such a good story. Definitely pick it up. This is going to be one that's going to be hyped up. I feel like it's going to be on a lot of lists, and you should pick it up. It's definitely worth it. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I did go in person to my Barnes & Noble store to pick this up yesterday because my pre-orders from my Barnes & Noble, I've just really been getting them like weeks after like I order. Not weeks, that's like very dramatic, but lots of days after I pre-ordered them and I wanted to read this one on release day, so I did go and pick up this physical copy. Also got a very impulsive copy because it was sitting right by the checkout. I had to. I've been so intrigued in this book, A Certain Hunger by Chelsea J. Summers. This is also, I was joking with my partner, the theme of my little book haul was unhinged white women stories. I guess I shouldn't say white women stories. I'm not too sure about this one. I'm just kind of going off the cover. But it's A Certain Hunger. It's about a food critic turned cannibal. So yeah. It's fairly short and readable, so I think I might save this for Summerween, but I'm definitely very excited to dive into this. If all paperbacks are going to be this floppy from now on, I'll definitely be buying more of them. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. Probably won't this week again, like I said, probably going to wait for Summerween. But yeah. That was my little book haul. I truly have no idea what I'm gonna pick up next. Like I said, I'm not in the mood for The Curator. I'm just in like a very weird reading mood because I loved this. It is kind of putting me in a slump because I want to pick up another good book. I'm in a reading mood, but like realistically, what is going to be as good as this book? So I'm having a hard time picking my next read. Maybe I'll do like a impromptu dog chooses my read, something like that. I don't know. Like I want to pick up a book and physically read. I just don't know what book that's gonna be yet. So you'll find out when I do. So yes, I'm going to go figure out somewhere in my room what book I'm going to pick up next, and you'll find out in like the B-roll footage that's coming up like right now. Do you know the struggle that I've had from last speaking vlog clip to this one in finding a book to pick up? Because it has been a struggle. Yeah, I have gotten, I'm not going to talk about them because I don't really like talking about books that I DNF like very early for reasons that are like definitely on me and not the book, because both books that I picked up, I feel like I'm in a fantasy mood, but both books that I picked up, I got like 100 pages in and just was not interested, and both of them were very anticipated releases of mine, but just I really was not in the mood for them at the time. So I am going to be keeping them on my TBR, returning them to the library so other people can have a chance to read the new releases like right when they come out. But I wasn't in the mood for them at this moment. And I was just very worried. I was so worried when I finished Yellowface by RF Kuang that just, you know, nothing would be as good. Nothing would be comparable. I'm just in like a very weird reading slump that I want to read. I've been picking up books, can't find like anything. And now my camera battery is blinking at me. But yeah, all of that to say is that I did find a book to read, and it's probably gonna be the last book in this vlog because it's over 1,000 pages. It's the fourth and final book in the Dandelion Dynasty series by Ken Liu, and I read the first 3 books in pretty fast succession? Doesn't matter. I read them consecutively pretty much last year, at the end of last year. Been meaning to pick this one up. I was just waiting for the audiobook because this one, there's so many characters. There's just, it's a huge scale in terms of fantasy. So I like reading this one physically while listening to the audiobook. So I was just waiting for my hold to come in, and it is comforting. It's actually like pretty much what I wanted, because I was debating like rereading maybe The Poppy War or something, since I really liked RF Kuang's book that I just read, but I wasn't in the mood for a reread, but I still wanted to read something familiar, so that was very confusing, but I think this is gonna scratch the itch. I'm also in a dragon mood. Like I want to read fantasy books, like very dragon heavy fantasy books, because I just realized that Christopher Paolini is coming out with another book in the Aragon series. Like it's about Murtagh. Is his name Murtagh? No, it's Obviously I need to reread the series, and I was debating doing that as well, or maybe like making that into a vlog or something, because I really loved that series as a kid. I can't remember the character the spin-off is from. The dragon's name's Thorn, but he has a book in the Aragon series. Christopher Paolini has a book in the Aragon series coming out like this year, so I've just been in a big dragon mood. There's kind of dragons in this series, enough I think for me to both scratch that itch of wanting a huge dragon-centric fantasy. Leave suggestions down below, please. I'm in such like a dragon mood. But also this I think is not, it is new material because it is a new book, but it is a series that I'm very familiar with because I've already read 3 books in this series. So yes, this is what I'm going to plan to read. I'm only like 50 pages in, so it's gonna take me a while. It's Saturday. I want to end this vlog on Sunday, so yeah, we'll see. This will probably be like the second to last update in this reading vlog, but I did pick up Speaking Bones, and yeah, I'm gonna go before my battery dies, but that's my plan for weekend reading, is just diving into this big chunky tome and hopefully really enjoying it. So yeah, that's my reading plans for this weekend. I will talk to you all later. So we are going to be wrapping up the vlog today. The only book that I have been reading has been Speaking Bones by Ken Liu, and it's very humbling to be reading such a big book because I'm about almost 6 hours of the way through the audiobook and I haven't hit 20% yet. So definitely it's going to be a very long read. It's going to be carrying over to next week's reading vlog. But I'm very excited to finish this series. I've really loved it. This almost feels like narrative nonfiction, and I know that's really not going to sell a lot of people, but just the way this world is constructed, I just feel like I just know so much about this world, like different cultures, like everything from like what different places in this world, like what they eat, religious customs, ruling customs, military customs, like everything. Like that to me is just like such great storytelling. The first book in the series is The Grace of Kings, and we're following a revolution told through very many different perspectives, but primarily through 2 young men who have very different ideals of how an empire should be run and how to go about that. So we're starting out with that premise, but by the time that you get to this 4th book, we're following different characters. We're following, because we don't just get to see the revolution that happens and like the revolution is like the end goal of the series. The revolution happens, we get to follow that. We get to follow like the history of this country, and not just main characters, but their families and people who they've influenced. And by the time we get to this book, characters that were in the first book that we followed as point of view characters are like historical figures or mythological figures because of the things that they did. So the scope of this series is immense. I highly recommend the audiobook. It is just one person, Michael Kramer, I believe, but he does an incredible job at really differentiating between the characters. It really helps me kind of keep everything in order because there's a massive list of characters. There's like, it's one of those series that has a list of major characters at the beginning, and it is multiple pages long. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about this series. I really enjoy it. I definitely would not recommend it as like your first adult epic fantasy series because the scope is huge, but if you want to be absolutely immersed in a world, this is the series for you. But that is going to be the end of this reading vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, please leave a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel for more bookish and cozy gaming content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!